The purpose of this video is both to show you an example of linking a CSS document externally, and also setting up a Bootstrap template that you can use so you don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel each time you create a Bootstrap document. So to start off with, you're going to want to do this in your web design folder, but create a new folder and give it the title Bootstrap template, and then open a new document in Atom, and we'll save it. As a Bootstrap template HTML. And I'm just going to pull mine into that folder that I just created. I'm going to use a shortcut in Atom where I start typing HTML, and it's going to give me everything I want. I'm going to give it the title of Winter Corn Bootstrap template. And then I'm going to do something different. Instead of creating style tags as we've been used to within or underneath your title tags, what we're going to actually link is an external style sheet. So our CSS is going to be in a separate document. And the format for doing this is we're going to link a relative style sheet. Its type, as per usual, is going to be text.css. And where is it going to be? We're going to link it. And I always like to call mine styles.css. And this link here does a really cool thing. It says, hey, look in the same folder that this document is for something called styles.css. And instead of having all our CSS in the between style tags, we're going to have it in a separate document. So you guessed it, the next thing you need to do is just create a new file. Save it. Don't save it that way. Save it as styles.css. And as long as they're in the same folder, we now have a kind of a cool thing going on. So I'm going to check it out with some hello world action over here. And so right now, my fun and exciting hello world looks like that. Awesome. And then if I go right into this CSS document, I'm acting essentially the same way I would in between style tags, but in this separate linked document. And then because they're linked, the style that I'm creating in the styles sheet is now coming up here. So again, it's the same jam. Like we're able to do the same stuff as having a local style tags. But as our documents get longer and longer, it's actually going to be really helpful to have a separate style sheet. And that way, instead of scrolling up and down on a really long document, you can toggle left and right. Okay, so that is how to link a style sheet. Cool. The next thing I wanted to do, get rid of this hello world. Next thing I wanted to do, and I'll take this out, since this is just a template, is show you if you Google W3 Schools Bootstrap and you go to their Getting Started, you'll come up to this Bootstrap CDN. There's different ways to link Bootstrap, the library, to your document. You can actually download it locally as well. There's different versions. What I'm going to recommend for this class is to link version 3.3.7 and the CDN, which is the Content Delivery Network, that will link this to your page. Really all you have to do is copy and paste, and then you can use all the functionality of the Bootstrap library, and that's going to go in the head of your document. Cool. So that's where that is. And you'll see they've done a really cool thing that I'm going to mimic in a second of using comments to explain what's going on here. So let me go back to this so you can see it. So here they're saying, hey, this style sheet is the compiled CSS. Here's our jQuery library down here. That's what this is. And between these script tags is a compiled JavaScript. Style comments like this in this format can be really helpful, especially in Bootstrap, as our documents are going to get longer and longer. So I'm going to just create one thing, and that is this is most of our Bootstrap projects are going to have a container class, often that wraps around the whole thing. So I'm going to create it right here. And then close it off. And I'm going to use comments again. This is the closing container. Okay. And what this will do, so this document doesn't make a ton of sense right now because it's just a template, but all the main parts of the document are come between these container tags. These comments are going to be really important as this document gets longer and longer so that you are able to see, do my divs match up? Because that's going to be the biggest kind of, or one of the biggest things as we're working in Bootstraps and you have 175 lines with a bunch of divs opening and closing, is making sure they match up the way you want them to. Adam's going to help you out. So comments are really going to be your friend in all this, and then Adam is also going to help you out because when you hover over or click on a div, it's going to give you a blue underline that shows you where it is reading the closing div. And so if you have comments that say, hey, this is the opening container div, and then this is the closing, but you click on this and they don't match up, you're going to see, okay, something's going on here, and you're going to have to go on a fun little treasure hunt to figure out where you're missing or have an extra opening or closing div. All right, so right here we just have, again, not a super exciting thing, but it's a template, so you don't have to go through that process over and over again. So if you save that and you have this folder somewhere in your web design folder, you can just use it, make a duplicate, and then use the template so you don't have to go through that process again and again.